Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Swahili Sunday. I'm adjusting lighting here. Uh, it's great to be here. I was all tied up in the message from church this morning. Wow, what a great message, which it was interesting. It was about limitless grace and peace. And one of my words for last year was grace. And it really broke that down. I'll probably talk about that more next weekend. But today, I want to thank you for listening. If you're listening after the fact, thank you so much. Happy New Year to everybody. It is 2022. I am excited about 2022. So yesterday I scheduled, I had to schedule, I scheduled time off, and I basically laid down and watched movies and rested. And I had scheduled that in because I knew that I got some busy stuff coming up and I wanted some time for me, which also over the holidays, I went up to Big Bear Lake, which is about 2 hours from here up in the mountains. I did that before Christmas. Why is my screen freezing? Oh my gosh, I need to get this computer looked at. It's a brand new computer and it's freezing. Okay, looks like it came back. So I am sitting here having my tea, and I am working. I'm pretty much finished. I added some things to my goals, and I have several pages. I do it in this book every year, and I wanted to talk about goals today. And the Swahili word for goal is lengo. And that means target, like goal, like maybe scoring a goal or whatever, or targeting or aiming. And that's what you do with goals. You set an aim for the year. And too often, and I talked about this last year, you can find the blog post on that as well. And the things I'm going to share today. I think it's important to set goals. And what I did, I reviewed my goals from last year and I saw where I had success and where I didn't achieve goals. And I kind of put things why I didn't achieve goals. And I looked at my goals from last year, and it's interesting because the writing was horrible. Because if you remember last year, I had a cast on this hand because I had a broken wrist and I'm right handed. So that made it quite difficult for me to actually write my goals out. And I remember, I had the cast on and I was doing something like this with the pen to try to hold it. And I can tell by looking at it because the words are all shaky and rattled. It's funny. But, and I revisit them throughout the year and adjust as necessary. But there's statistics that show that a lot of people set New Year's resolutions. What's a New Year's resolution versus a goal? A New Year's resolution is just a kind of a list. Oh, I'm going to do this. I want to do that. Like the typical New Year's resolution is I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds, whatever. And people write those and then they have all the intentions to do those. But statistics show that about 80% fail to even start or do any resolutions. There's another statistic that says something like only 5% of people who set resolutions actually commit to them and stay committed. When I was in the Air Force, I was stationed. One of the places I was stationed was in Davis Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona, and the gym there was too small. It was too. The equipment was old. You couldn't get a good workout there. So I ended up being a member of a gym off base. It wasn't too far from the base, and they had a pool. And I would on Saturdays I would take my kids. I'd put the kids in the daycare while I worked out, and then afterwards we'd go to the pool. So I would work out there. But the funny thing about it is January and February, we called them the New Year's resolution people, because the New Year's resolution people would show up. Okay, here we are, got the resolution, go to start working out. And the rest of us who, I see my thing's freezing again. I'm going to let it catch up in case I've got the pinwheel of death. I can't even believe this. I'm going to wait a minute and let it catch up. Okay. So the New Year's resolution people, we would wait for the New Year's resolution people to leave because by February they were gone. All those people that joined the gym and had that intention to get fit and all that, they were gone by February, pretty much all of them. So then we could get back to working out normally. So what's the problem with that? Why do people set goals and they don't meet them, or set resolutions and they don't meet them? And I think a lot of it has to do with languaging. I took neurolinguistic programming training many years ago, and one of the first things that we learned was how to set goals that actually worked by using a goal setting statement. And I should probably put this up, and I think afterwards I will put the link to this where it describes it. And so you want to set a statement. You don't want to just go out there and be like, oh yeah, here's my list of goals. So here is what one of the Go Pink rules of engagement that we went over is: take positive action towards your goals and dreams. Hey, Indigo, no, leave it. Sorry, dog is acting up. And positive action starts with actually setting a goal, but then you have to take action to complete it. And this statement makes your goals, and there's the SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable / accountable, realistic, and timed. This covers all of that, especially the timed part. Oops, I see I have an error. It is not. That's funny. Let me edit that. I can't type. So you use this. All right, that's better. It is now. Okay. It is now blank. That blank is the date you want to achieve it by. When I set my goals, I usually give it the year because a lot of goals are big unless I'm doing something small and specific. Like, for instance, if I want to add an amount of money to my emergency fund or whatever, and by a certain date, or if I want to have something that like maybe get a contract for an event to speak at, and the event's in March. So I may set a goal with a date of February to achieve getting the contract for that. So I may set specifics there, but a lot of my goals are set over the whole year. So it is now 31 December and I am, or I have blank, whatever that thing is that you are going for. And you could also add, I am committed to being or having. So you can add a commitment phrase in there. I wanted to give you an example. So I have what the person, so I set my goals up family, and I have my goals here written. I write them out by hand. I do not type them. I write them out by hand. There's something that goes when you write it to your brain versus typing it. It makes more of a connection for you. You need to just stop and wait. Oh my gosh, the dog. There goes my thing again. Okay. Sorry, the dog is acting psycho. So anyway, I have pages that I've written my goals on, and I divide them up by family, personal, business. Then I have professional, which is a little bit different than business. Professional is kind of my own professional thing that I want to do, and then the nonprofit. And then I have a don't do list. And then I added something because a friend of mine who's now on the Baskets and Beads team, Vanessa Romero, had things to leave behind in 2021. So I go through all of this and I write it out. So for instance, this is one of my goals, one of my personal goals. It is now 31 December 22. So sometime this year, I don't have a specific because I don't know. I'll explain that in a minute. And I have paid cash for a new SUV or truck. And I have the brands that I say, like Mercedes, Cadillac, or better, or a truck, van, etc. Now, why do I have that? Because my car, I have a Cadillac SRX, has 214,000 miles on it. And I am thinking I'm going to have to, gosh, this thing is stopping again. I'm going to wait because it's, my Cadillac SRX SUV has 214,000 miles on it, and I do not know how much longer it's going to last. So I am my goal is to replace it this year. So I've put a specific, I've paid cash. I want to pay cash for it. Now I could go even further and indicate I don't want to pay any more than X. So I may want to go back and add that. So you need to be specific for your goal, not just say, like for instance, last year I have a loan that I took to for my business, and I had put last year I wanted to pay 75% of it off. Well, that's great, but I think I should have put a dollar amount. So this year I put a dollar amount and specifically that loan that I want to pay off. So I got a little more specific this year. And I go through that with all of my goals. I have some dollar amounts for my business. I have some stores I want to be in for wholesale. But then a good phrase to add on the end of that is or better. Oh gosh, this stupid thing keeps. Sorry, every time this stops, I stop because I don't know why my internet's acting up. But you can add the word or better. So for instance, I have a sales goal for Fair Trade Long Beach, and I put the dollar amount, and then I put or better because I would like to at least achieve that dollar amount, but I'd be happy to achieve better. So if you don't want to limit yourself by putting a specific thing that could you have a vision of what it might be, but you could end up making it better. So you want to put that or better phrase at the end. And then the next thing you have to decide, okay, what is the end step for that? For end step is the thing where you achieve the goal. For instance, when I co-authored Heart of a Military Woman, my end step for that was opening the box of books and holding the book in my hand. For the car, it would be getting the keys, getting in the car and driving it off from wherever I get it from. So you have to think about your end step and visualize that. You take a minute to visualize and let your imagination run wild with that. And I have a procedure with that. There's a video by Nike called Rise and Shine. So what you do is you put that video on and you take these goals and you visualize, and it may take, you have to go through a couple of times depending on how many goals you have. So you visualize going through all of your goals with that. Oh, there we go, freezing again. I'm trying to see what the problem is. No, I'm on the 5G Wi-Fi. I don't know why my Wi-Fi is Oh, Penny, thanks. Yeah, this is my thanks. This is my I call it my COVID hair. This this is all natural. This is what God gave me, and I was hiding it for a lot of years, and I love the fact that I've like let it go, but this is my natural color. There's people that pay money for this. So thank you for that compliment. So anyway, you go through and if you haven't done it yet, you can do it now. I'll post the link to the blog post that has the information that kind of spells this out step by step so you can go through this. It's really important. And even if you don't achieve, what if you don't achieve a goal? Oh, I put this goal and I didn't achieve it. Well, you started a trajectory towards that goal, so you might end up have gotten part of the way there. For instance, I had a goal for wholesale customers, and obviously last year was not the time. People were just starting to open back up. It's now people are just starting to. I've had a few people order wholesale. That's just starting back. So we have a plan for 2022 going forward to get in more wholesale outlets, including dog bandanas. Okay, I'm going to wait because it's freezing again. I'm sorry that it keeps freezing. I don't know what's going on. But it's technology. What can you do? So that we started the trajectory towards that goal, did increase some wholesale customers. I mean, for 2020, nobody ordered wholesale. We pretty much, I think towards the end of the year, I had one wholesale customer. Several of my wholesale customers went out of business and the rest of them weren't ordering. So I'm going to start reconnecting with those now. And we'll see what happens. So Oh, okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. It's still free. I don't know if it's like it's freezing on my end, but I guess you could still see me. I just think I'm freezing and I'm not freezing. Okay, good. Cool. Thank you. So that's the first thing to do. And then another part of the list, I have something called a don't do list right here. Don't do list. I did this last year, things not to do. And I put it kind of off to the side. Don't blow off my time with God. Like that's very important. If you want to hear a good message, whether you're a Christian or not, this message was so good about understanding grace, understanding God's grace, and grace was one of my words for last year, like I said. And next week I'm going to talk about the importance of setting your word for the year. I'll just share that my word is abundance, but I'll talk about that next week. This week is about goals. So I do this every year. Some of you may have heard it before, some of you may not, but I think it's so important that we start our year off on a strong foot, getting going with what we will do, what we won't do. So I have a list, a don't do list. My number one thing on my don't do list is isolate. Don't isolate. Now, because I'm a veteran, that's something a lot of veterans do, and I really have to set the intention not to do that because I can do that. I can hide out here. I can just isolate. Some of the other things are don't overcommit. Uh, the busy person syndrome. I've said no to a lot of things because uh, they're not either not income producing or peace producing activities. So I have income producing activities and I have peace producing activities, things that I enjoy, things that I like to do. Uh, and of course, there are things that you have no choice of doing that you have to do. But I have like don't attend a lot of non-income producing events. So I I've analyzed some events that I was supposed to. Well, there was an event I was supposed to attend. It canceled and it moved to another city. And when I did the math, it's like okay, this is going to end up either being break even or a loss. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time where I'm at break even or loss just to be around a few hundred people that might not that already know me or whatever. They may or may not purchase, and I don't know if there'll be. Yeah, anyway, it just made a decision not to do that. And this is something I have. I don't speak for free very often. My time is very precious and valuable. Toastmasters gets my time for free because I'm an accredited speaker, but I do very few other free speaking events where I'm just speaking and I'm not getting paid to speak, especially if I have to go somewhere because that takes time too and it takes energy. I have to balance and manage my energy. One thing I have here is don't spend so much time on social media. I have a habit of just tuning out and looking at whatever and uh, another thing here is I put don't hang around treat people who treat me bad, people who are selfish or unsupportive. Life is too short, especially when you have a mission. And I have a mission to help the women in Kenya and other groups like the Soapstone group is women and men, but I'm connected with them and we're reaching out to more groups in Kenya to help uh, to help add more groups that maybe we can help somewhere along the way. And I don't have time to be with people who aren't going to support my mission, aren't going to support the work I'm doing, and are going to take advantage of me or my kindness or whatever. And then I also have don't focus on negativity. When I ran ads last year, there were a lot of negative comments accusing me of all kinds of things, calling me a racist, basically, and saying all kinds of horrible things about how I'm taking advantage of the people in Kenya and this and that and the other thing. I just delete them. And sometimes people will be like, oh, you deleted my comment without answering it. Yeah, I'm not going to answer your nasty comment on my ad. If you want to have a conversation offline, I'm happy to do that, but not one person would have a conversation with me. But I did actually, as a result of that, put up a blog post that said, how much do we give back to the artisans? That's something that actually, how can I get rid of this? That's something that I wanted to make people understand, because a lot of people don't understand how it works. And obviously, this is a business, there's expenses. And so there's an explanation of that. If you want to go to the blog, you can see that. And there's another thing, because people are looking to get offended, and sometimes things offend me. So I'm like, don't get offended and not verify the facts. So I have a lot of things on my don't do list. So after I set my goals, I have my don't do list, things I'm definitely not going to do. And sometimes I have to go back and read this and remind myself. That's why it's in a book that I've written down. Again, handwrite it. This is my nice book. I have some Bible verses in here, and some prayer strategy type things where I've done prayers in a way that my pastor had set us out to do. And so that's all in here as well. And then my friend Vanessa, she had a great list on her Instagram of things to leave behind in 2021. And I thought, wow, I'm going to add that to my goal setting. So I have my goals, I have my don't do list, and my things specifically to leave behind. I'm like cutting the ties, I'm letting that go. In NLP, they have you visualize, taking a scissor and cutting the thing that's tied to you. So things like doubt, frustration, anxiety, negative self-talk, resentment, these are things. Now, the resentment for me comes from those people. There's been some people who've hurt me this year, and I've been, I get angry and resentful towards that, and I have to work on leaving that behind. Concern about what other people think, that's tied to all those ads, all those negative comments. Poor diet and fitness, lack of faith, island concept. I don't know if any of you have the island concept. I'm an island. I row my own boat. I can do it all myself. I don't need any help. Yeah, okay. Don't do that. I'm a good person at doing that, and that stems from my childhood. If you know my story, my mother died of alcoholism when I was 12, but before that, I was pretty much on my own, taking care of myself. And then when she died, my father basically sat there on the couch, drank beer, smoked cigarettes, and didn't say anything. So that caused a lot of the island concept, row my own boat type of thing, as I call that. And it's not something that you want to do. So and then loneliness is something I'm leaving behind. I live alone. My little doggie helps me with, she's not so little anymore. She's getting to be big doggy. She's over there chewing up something right now, but it's one of her toys, so that's okay. But I wrote a leave behind in 2021 list. And you could leave things behind. There were many things, like, for instance, resentment for me. This for 2021 is for those people who've hurt me, and there's been a few. So I need to make sure that I'm not taking any of that with me in my spirit into 2022. I need to leave that behind. But for me, before, when I did the work to release the resentment from a lifetime of chronic trauma, including the bad childhood things, I had to release resentment for many, many years. So you might want to look at that and go back to view the Swahili Sunday on releasing resentment, where I did a whole thing about that. Now, that's not something you can just get in like that, especially if you've had a lot of years of resentment and anger and frustration. That's something that might require some more work. So you might commit that one of your goals might be to commit to working on that and releasing any of that resentment. See, resentment is a poison we think kills other people, but it really kills our spirit. And while releasing resentment and having forgiveness is more for you than it is for the other person. Like, if somebody did some atrocious thing, like my mother slammed my face into the wall, and she died of alcoholism, and she did a whole lot of other horrible things to me when I was a kid. I had a lot of resentment towards her, but I don't have that anymore. But I had to do a lot of work around that. So if you might look at that okay, 2022 is going to be a new year. I'm going to have peace in my heart and grace and forgiveness. Like this message I'm telling you is right on point. Limitless grace and peace. Um, it one of the things it said is grace is my power source, and I never really looked at grace as being powerful before, but grace is powerful, especially with the phrase that my friend Larry Broughton says is offer grace, patience, and forgiveness freely and often. You have the power to offer somebody grace even when they've wronged you or hurt you in some way. So that's basically the way to set your goals. It is now blank, and I am or I have blank. I will put the blog post link underneath this recording so you can actually go and review that in detail. And I'm happy. I don't take many coaching clients, but if you want to do a little coaching session, I'm happy to walk you through this so you can set your goals in a way that will be powerful, in a way that you will achieve your goals and make all your dreams for 2022 come true. I had one goal that I looked and I said, "Oh, I'm not going to carry that over to 2022 because I've been having that same goal for years and it hasn't manifested." But now that I look back at it, I haven't taken any action towards manifesting that goal. I've just been like, okay, I put it out there and just praying that God grants that to me, but I've not taken any action on my own, so I need to check myself there as well. So, yeah, I'd love to hear what some of your goals are, but if you are going to write a goal, you need to write it in this format. You can put it here in the chat and anytime after you've heard this or whatever, but you need to put it in this format. It is now blank and I am or I have blank. So don't just say, I want to earn 100,000 in my business this year. No, it is now 31 December and I have earned 100,000 or better in my business this year. Or you could say, for instance, I have a kind of a twofold business. I don't do a lot of promotion for speaking. People, but I'm changing that a little bit. Thanks to my friend Cheryl Roush, who I invested with to help me with a media kit. I'm going to work on getting more media and more speaking engagements through that particular information. So if you want a great graphic designer who will actually help you put a kit together that, she'll tell you what you need in there and help you with the questions that people would ask for an interview and all that type of stuff. Her name's Cheryl Roush. She's on Facebook, or it's Cheryl at CherylRoush.com. She's great at that. She helped me immensely. I really appreciate her for helping me with that. So I think that's a wrap, and I think I need to go heat my tea up because it's not warm anymore. I got to have some warm tea. Can't have cold tea. Yeah, so I hope that has helped you for setting goals for the new year. Again, DM me if you want to connect for that. I'm happy to help people do that because it took me some time to learn this, and this is something that I teach in self-leadership. And I actually take people through the whole visualization process with that, and we flush out the goals and make sure that you're on track to have a good foundation for 2022 so that you don't just put something out there and then the end of 2022 comes and you're like, well, what did I want to do? Oh, I haven't done any of that. Okay, well, all right, I'll write them down again. But so there's a whole process through that. Like at the end of the year, like I said, I went through and reviewed my goals, and then I set more specific goals in a couple of areas because I saw I wasn't specific enough. And it's important to be specific. Like think like a negotiator training. Ask for exactly what I want. You have to do the same in your goals. Set your goals and ask for exactly what you want. You can't be vague. You have to be specific, whether it's a dollar amount, a number, a organization, whatever specific. I have some specific things listed out for my business, specific stores I want to be in, specific things I want to happen, specific amount of money I want to raise for baskets and beads for the nonprofit, something we want to do in 2022 is take the ladies on a trip. And that's going to take some money to be able to do that, to take 30 women from Kitale, Kenya on a bus, on a train, put them up in a place to stay, food, etc. So we're thinking about that for June. By the way, I will be going to Kenya probably the end of May, beginning of June. So if you are interested in going along, I'm not going to really put together a trip. If people want to go with me, I will work that out for you, because we will all stay at the same place, and you can come along and do some of the things we have planned. So got some great plans for 2022, and new products are being added. Just added some trivets. Go check out the trivets, and we'll be adding some new soapstone products soon. I'm ordering some couple of things that I haven't had before, and also we'll be uploading the spoon rest. Spoon rest is one of the things I'm getting. Uploading the table runner sets that I just got, and pillows. So doing a few more household type products, and looking forward to that. All right, everybody, I am so happy to be able to share this information with you, and I am just praying that we all have a successful 2022. I saw a friend of mine. Let me see. I want to pull up this. I'm going to leave you with this comment because I thought it was great. I thought it was great. Let me see. I want to pull this up because I think it was my friend Christopher Rausch said, "I'm not interested in competing with anyone. I hope we all make it." And that's my hope for you for 2022 along with me. That's what cooperation is all about. So I hope we can work in cooperation together, support each other, lift each other up, and we can all get there for this year. All right, have a great week. And next week, I'll be talking about setting your word for the year and the importance of that. All right, have a good one. Nakupenda.